You are 22 years old and your phone is vibrating on a kitchen counter in Columbus, Ohio. It is 11:47 at night on a Tuesday in November. The kitchen is not yours. It belongs to the apartment, which belongs to the landlord, and you have lived here for 6 weeks. The refrigerator hums in a frequency that you have started to find comforting because it is the only sound in the room that is not asking you for anything. There is $1,847 in your checking account. You know this number the way you know your own birthday. You earn $14 an hour at a marketing agency that calls you a junior associate, which is a phrase that means you are paid less than the actual associates and you do most of the same work. Your rent is $725. Your share of utilities is around $80. Your student loan payment is $312, deferred for now, but already accruing interest at a rate you have decided not to look at because looking at it makes the room get smaller. The phone keeps vibrating. You can see the name on the screen from across the kitchen. It says, Mom. You have been letting it vibrate for 38 seconds. You have to understand the phone. You have to understand the 4 words. Because everything that happens to Nora Caldwell over the next 23 years, and everything that happens, in parallel, to her sister Hannah Caldwell, 3 years younger, who picks up that same call from the same mother on the same night in her own apartment in Cincinnati. Everything happens because of the 4 words. I hate to ask, but Hannah is 19. She is a sophomore at the University of Cincinnati. She works at a coffee shop on Ludlow Avenue and shares a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other girls. She has $312 in her checking account on the night the call comes. Her mother calls her second, 11 minutes after she calls Nora, after Nora has said yes. You are 19 years old. The phone rings. You see the name Mom. You answer on the second ring because that is the daughter you have decided to be. The easy one, the warm one, the one who never makes anyone ask twice. Your mother says, "Sweetheart, I hate to ask, but..." And you say, "Of course, Mom, what's wrong?" And she tells you about the car, about the transmission, about the fact that without the car, she cannot get to her shifts at the hospital, and your father is between jobs again, and your sister has already agreed to send $1,400, and she just needs another $1,000 from you to get the work done by Friday. You do not have $1,000. You say yes anyway. You say, "Of course, Mom, I'll figure it out." You hang up and you sit on the edge of your bed in your shared bedroom in Cincinnati, and you open your laptop and you apply for a Discover card with a starter limit of $1,500, and you are approved within 4 minutes. You wire the money 2 days later. Your mother sends you a text that says, "You are an angel. I don't deserve you." You read that text in the break room at the coffee shop, and you cry a little bit, and you feel, for the first time in 3 years, that your mother actually sees you. This is the moment, right here. In your apartment in Columbus, and your apartment in Cincinnati, on the same November Tuesday at 22 and at 19, 2 sisters are signing the same contract in different ink. One of them is hesitating. One of them is grateful for the chance. Neither of them is reading what the contract says. The contract says, "From this moment forward, your love will be measured in dollars." The contract says, "Every emergency will become a test, and every test will be graded by the same person who set the curve." The contract says, "You are not a child of these parents anymore. You are a line of credit they have just discovered." You don't know any of that yet. Of course you don't. You are 22 and you are 19, and you love your mother. Love has not yet learned how to count. It takes Nora 4 days to send the $4,200. She has to move money from a savings account she opened her senior year of college, a savings account that contained $4,612, money she had been saving for what she vaguely thought of as her future, by which she meant a car that did not break down, a security deposit on a real apartment, possibly grad school. She wires $4,200 of it to her mother on a Friday afternoon. She keeps $412 in the savings account because she cannot bring herself to empty it completely, because emptying it completely feels like something a different kind of person would do, and she is not yet sure if she is that person. Her mother calls her that night. Her mother says, "Oh, sweetheart, you are an absolute lifesaver. I don't know what I would do without you girls." Her mother says, "I will pay you back the second I get my next check. You know that, right?" And Nora says, "Of course, Mom. Take your time." And her mother says, "I love you so much." And Nora hangs up the phone and sits down on the edge of her bed in Columbus, Ohio, and she feels, and this is the part she will remember 23 years later, sitting across from me in a coffee shop in Asheville. She feels for the first time in her adult life like she has done something that mattered, like she has been useful, like she has earned her place at the table. I want you to remember that feeling, because that feeling is the drug. That feeling is what gets you to 26 and to 30 and to 35. That feeling is the one your mother knows how to dose and increase and time and withhold. You have just received your first hit. The dealer has just made her first sale. Neither of you is going to call it that for a very long time. Hannah feels it too, that night, lying on the top bunk in her shared bedroom in Cincinnati, refreshing her bank app to confirm the wire went through, reading her mother's text, "You are an angel. I don't deserve you," for the 7th time. Hannah feels it more, actually. Hannah feels it harder. Because Hannah has always been the second daughter, the one who came after Nora was already the perfect one, the one who got compared to the original at every birthday and every report card and every Christmas. And now, finally, here is a thing she has done that her mother is praising her for in a tone that does not contain Nora's name. Hannah falls asleep that night believing that she has finally figured out the price of being loved by her mother. The price is $1,000 on a Discover card at 24.9% APR. She thinks she can afford it. She cannot afford it. She is going to learn this slowly over the next 13 years, the way you learn that you have a slow leak in your roof, not by seeing the leak, but by noticing, one morning, that the ceiling has changed color and you cannot remember when it started. You are 26. It has been 4 years. The phone calls have not stopped. The phone calls have, in fact, become a kind of weather system that you have learned to read. You can tell, by the time of day your mother calls, what kind of conversation it is going to be. Calls before noon are usually informational, sometimes pleasant. She is letting you know about a cuz. Calls before noon are usually informational, sometimes pleasant. She is letting you know about a cousin's wedding, about a hospital appointment that went well, about a recipe she found in a magazine and thought of you. Calls between noon and 4 are usually maintenance, small asks, small complaints, small reminders that you have not visited in a while. Calls after 9 at night are emergencies. Calls after 11 are catastrophes. You have learned to look at the clock before you look at the screen. You are 26 and you are sitting in a Honda Civic in the parking lot of a Whole Foods in Columbus, and the dashboard clock says 10:47 p.m. and your mother is calling. You have been working at the same marketing agency for 4 years now. You are not a junior associate anymore. You make $58,000 a year. You have $6,200 in your checking account, which is the most you have ever had in your life, and you have been looking at it for a week, the way you look at a sleeping animal you are afraid to wake up. You answer on the 4th ring. She says, "Sweetheart, I hate to ask, but it is the roof. It is always the roof, or the car, or the medical bill, or your father's back. This time, it is the roof. The roof is leaking into the kitchen. The contractor came out and said it would be $7,400. The homeowner's insurance is denying the claim because of something called wear and tear, and your father is, well, you know how your father is." You sit in the Honda Civic and you look at the Whole Foods sign and you do something you have never done before. You say, "Mom, I don't have $7,400. There is a silence on the other end of the line. The silence is the longest 3 seconds of your life. Your mother says in a voice you have not heard before, in a voice that is not the soft, careful one, your mother says, "Nora, I am not asking you for $7,400. I am asking you for what you can do. I would never ask you for more than you can do. Why are you being like this? You say. Like what, Mom? She says, defensive. You are being defensive. I called my daughter because I needed help, and you are acting like I came here to rob you. You sit in the Honda Civic for 40 more minutes after the call ends. You wire her $3,000 the next morning. You feel sick about it for a week. Then you stop feeling sick about it, because feeling sick about it for longer than a week is a luxury you cannot afford and also still go to work. This is level 2 of the contract. This is the level where you discover that saying no is not a sentence.
It is an event that has weather, an event that has consequences, an event that will be brought up at Thanksgiving by your aunt, who will look at you across the green bean casserole and say, "Your mother told me you've been having a hard time being there for her." An event that will alter, very slightly, the temperature of every room you walk into for the next 6 months. You learn the lesson. You learn it the way an animal learns about an electric fence. You do not learn that the fence is wrong. You learn where the fence is. Hannah, 3 years younger, is 23 and she is on her 3rd credit card. She has not learned where the fence is, because Hannah has decided she is not going to be the kind of daughter who needs a fence. Hannah is going to be the daughter who is always inside the yard. Hannah said yes to the roof without hesitating. Hannah said yes to the transmission, and the dental work, and the property tax shortfall, and the cousin's funeral travel costs, and the small loan to your father for what your mother described, on the phone, as a thing we don't need to tell anyone about. Hannah's 3 credit cards have a combined balance of $11,400. She is paying minimums. The minimums alone consume $340 a month, which is more than her car insurance. She has not told her boyfriend. She has not told anyone. When her mother calls her, the call lasts an average of 42 minutes, and Hannah hangs up feeling, every time, like the most loved person on earth. This is level 2 for Hannah. This is the level where the drug starts costing more than the high. You are 30. It is December. You are sitting in a rental car in a hotel parking lot in Indianapolis at 7:14 in the evening, and there is snow falling on the windshield, and the windshield wipers are off because you do not want to clear the snow, because clearing the snow would mean you have decided to drive somewhere, and you have not decided that yet. You are supposed to be at your parents' house in Dayton in 56 minutes, for what your mother has called, in 3 separate texts, our family Christmas. There is $14,800 in your checking account, which is, again, the most money you have ever had in your life. And yesterday afternoon, in a phone call that lasted 9 minutes, your mother asked you for $11,000 of it. The $11,000 is for a basement renovation. The basement, your mother explained, has mold, and the mold is making your father sick, and the contractor needs half down by the end of the year for tax reasons that your mother described in a way that did not entirely make sense, but which you did not ask follow-up questions about, because asking follow-up questions is a form of saying no, and you have learned, over the past 4 years, that saying no is an event. You did not say yes on the phone yesterday. You did not say no either. You said, "Mom, can I think about it?" And your mother said, "Of course, sweetheart, take all the time you need." And then she said, "By the way, are you still planning on driving down for Christmas?" You are sitting in the rental car in Indianapolis. The dashboard says 7:16. You have to make a decision in the next 4 minutes about whether you are going to clear the snow off the windshield. You do not clear the snow. You drive back to the airport, you change your flight, you spend Christmas alone in your apartment in Columbus eating microwaved fried rice and watching a documentary about deep-sea fish that have evolved to live without light. And at 9:47 p.m., you get a text from your mother that says, "I hope you are happy." That is the entire text. 6 words, no punctuation at the end. You read it 11 times. You do not respond. You do not send the $11,000. This is level 3. This is the crack. This is the night you stop being the daughter who shows up. You will not see your mother in person for 14 months. You will speak to her on the phone 17 times in those 14 months. Every single one of those calls will contain somewhere in it a number. $400 for a vet bill, $1,200 for a tax thing, $300 for a cousin's baby shower gift that your mother has decided should come from both of you. The numbers get smaller after Indianapolis. The numbers do not stop. The numbers, you start to understand, were never the point. The numbers are the language. The numbers are how she talks to you now. The numbers are how she tells you she still owns you. Hannah, 27, has just opened her 4th credit card. Hannah's combined balance is $23,800. Hannah's credit score is 612 and falling. Hannah has a boyfriend named Caleb, who has noticed that the mail comes addressed to Hannah, and Hannah opens it in the bathroom. Caleb has not asked her about it yet. Caleb is going to ask her about it in 8 months, and Hannah is going to lie to him, and the lie is going to be the first crack in a relationship that will end 3 years later. And Hannah will tell herself the relationship ended because of Caleb, because Caleb didn't understand family, because Caleb was selfish. Hannah will tell herself this for a long time. The mother does not appear in Hannah's version of why Caleb left. The mother never appears in Hannah's version of anything that goes wrong. This is level 3 for Hannah, the crack. Hannah is leaking. Hannah cannot see the leak yet. Hannah is starting to notice that the ceiling is changing color. You are 35. It is a Saturday morning in March. You are in your apartment in Columbus, a different apartment, a 1-bedroom now, hardwood floors, a real desk, a window that looks out over a small park where a man walks a dog every morning at 7:30. And you are sitting at the desk with a yellow legal pad and a pen, and you are doing something you have never done before. You are doing the math. You have promised yourself you are going to do this honestly. No rounding, no estimating, no telling yourself, well, that one was a special case. You have your bank statements going back to 2011 open on the laptop. You have your old credit card statements, the ones from when you were carrying a small balance in your late 20s. You have a notebook in which, starting around age 28, you began quietly writing down every wire you sent your mother, with the date and the reason your mother had given you, because some part of you, even then, had started keeping receipts. You start at 22, the roof, $4,200. You write it down. You go in order. 3 hours later, you put down the pen. The number on the legal pad is $51,300. You have given your mother $51,300 between the ages of 22 and 35. That number does not include gifts. That number does not include the times you flew home and paid for your own flight. That number does not include the Christmas you bought your father a $400 coat because your mother said he had been looking at it. That number is only direct wires and direct cash and 1 cashier's check. That number is what you would call, if you were an accountant, the verifiable principal. You sit at the desk. The man with the dog is walking past the park again. It is now his second walk. The light has changed. You open another browser tab. You go to a compound interest calculator. You enter $51,300. You enter 13 years. You enter a 7% average market return because that is the conservative S&P 500 number, and you have decided you are not going to lie to yourself today. You hit calculate. The calculator returns $123,847. That is what the money would be worth today. Not what you gave, what it would have grown into. Something in your chest does a small, quiet thing. Not a break, not a sob, a kind of click. The click of a lock you did not know was locked. You sit with the number for a long time. Then you do the second piece of math, the one you have been avoiding for 2 weeks. Ever since your aunt called you to tell you about Hannah. Your aunt called you because someone had to. Your aunt called you because Hannah had asked your parents to co-sign on a debt consolidation loan, and your parents had said no. And Hannah had cried on the phone with your mother for an hour and a half. And your mother had called your aunt, not to ask for help for Hannah, but to complain about Hannah, to describe Hannah as the kind of daughter who makes her own bed and then expects other people to lie in it. And your aunt who has always been the one in the family who can count, your aunt had hung up the phone and called you and said, "Nora, I don't know what's going on with your sister, but I think you need to know. You called Hannah that night. Hannah cried. Hannah told you the number. Hannah's number, at 32, is $87,400. $87,400 in revolving consumer debt across 6 cards and 1 personal loan. Her credit score is 540. Her net worth, including her car, which is worth maybe $4,000 if she's lucky, is approximately negative $22,000. She has not told Caleb, who is no longer her boyfriend, but who she still lives with for reasons that are mostly financial. She has not told her therapist. She has told you because you asked the right question, which was, how much? Most people, Hannah said on the phone, ask why. You asked how much. Nobody has ever asked me how much. You sit at the desk in Columbus on the Saturday morning in March, and you put your sister's number next to your own number on the yellow legal pad. You, $51,300 sent, $123,847 in lost compounding. Hannah, $87,400 sent, negative net worth, credit destroyed, hidden from her partner, hidden from her therapist, hidden from herself until your aunt picked up a phone. And here is the thing that breaks. Here is the click of the second lock. It is not the money. It was never the money. The money is the receipt. The money is the proof. The money is just the only thing in this entire situation that holds still long enough to be counted. What breaks, sitting at the desk, is the realization that your mother did not love you and Hannah differently. Your mother loved you and Hannah identically. Your mother extracted from each of you exactly as much as each of you was capable of giving. And she calibrated the extraction in real time with surgical precision over 13 years, and she never once made a mistake. She took from you what you could afford to give and call it a sacrifice. She took from Hannah what Hannah could not afford to give and called it devotion. She measured, she weighed, she invoiced, and she did all of it in the language of love. Because the language of love was the only language in which the two of you would not check the receipts. You are not her daughter. You are her account. Hannah is also her account. The accounts are different sizes. The bookkeeping is the same. You put the pen down. You do not cry. You sit at the desk for a very long time, and you watch the man with the dog finish his second walk and start what appears to be a third. And you understand, finally, what has happened to your life. And you understand that understanding it is not the same as being free of it. Not yet. Not for a long time. You are 40. It is 2:14 in the morning. You are at the kitchen table in your apartment. Not the one in Columbus anymore. You have moved 2 years ago to a small town outside Asheville, North Carolina, for reasons you tell people are about cost of living and weather, and which are actually about distance, about the specific number of driving hours between your front door and your mother's front door. A number you calculated before you signed the lease. The number is 6 hours and 41 minutes. You have driven it once. There is a laptop open on the kitchen table. On the screen, there is an email. The email is addressed to your mother. The email has been open for 9 days. You have rewritten the email 41 times. You know it is 41 because you have been numbering the drafts. The current draft is 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph says what is happening. The second paragraph says why. The third paragraph says what comes next. You are not going to send it tonight. You know that. You have known that for 9 days. The point of the email is not to send it. The point of the email is to find out, by writing it, whether you mean it. You have been finding out, slowly, draft by draft, that you do. It is 2:14 a.m., and you are sitting at the kitchen table, and the apartment is so quiet you can hear the refrigerator, which is a refrigerator that hums in roughly the same frequency as the one in Columbus when you were 22. And you understand, sitting there, that you have been in this kitchen before. You have been in this exact moment before.
The kitchen at 22, with the phone vibrating, was this kitchen. The kitchen at 30, on Christmas night, with the text that said, "I hope you are happy," was this kitchen. The kitchen at 35, with the legal pad, was this kitchen. There has only ever been one kitchen. You have been walking around in it for 18 years. This is level 5. This is the sitting. This is the part nobody talks about because there is nothing to film, nothing to dramatize, no music to score. This is the part where you sit with what you know and you wait for yourself to catch up to it. This is the part that takes 9 months or 2 years or 11 years. This is the part that, for some people,
never ends. They sit at the kitchen table forever. They never send the email. They die at the kitchen table. Hannah is sitting at her own kitchen table tonight. Hannah is 37. Hannah is opening a 4th credit card application on her phone. Hannah's mother called her this evening at 9:48 p.m. about a $1,800 dental thing, and Hannah said yes, and Hannah is now figuring out how to actually produce $1,800 by Friday. And the answer is the credit card. And the credit card is going to take her combined balance to $112,000. And Hannah has stopped counting Hannah's combined balance because counting is a thing accounts do, and Hannah is not an account. Hannah is a daughter. Hannah is the good daughter. Hannah is the daughter who shows up. You do not know, sitting at your kitchen table at 2:14 a.m. in Asheville in March of 2019, that Hannah is sitting at her own kitchen table at the same moment in Cincinnati doing exactly this. You will not learn it for 3 more years. You will learn it in a phone call from a hospital after Hannah has a stress-induced cardiac event at the age of 39, and the social worker assigned to her case finds your name in her phone under the contact label, "Sister, do not call first." And the social worker, in violation of Hannah's instructions, but in compliance with her own training, calls you anyway. But you do not know any of that yet. Tonight you only know your own kitchen, your own laptop, your own 41st draft. You close the laptop, you go to bed. You do not sleep. You are 42. It is a Wednesday morning in October. You are at the kitchen table. The laptop is open. The email is on the screen. You read the 3 paragraphs one more time. You do not change anything. The 41st draft has been the right draft for 19 months. You were not waiting for the words. You were waiting for the version of yourself who could press send. You press send. You close the laptop. You make a cup of coffee. You drink it slowly at the kitchen table. The refrigerator hums. The light comes through the window the way it always does in October in the mountains, low and gold and a little tired, and you sit with the coffee and you wait for the feeling. The feeling does not come. There is no feeling. There is, instead, a kind of absence where the feeling was supposed to be, the way a tongue feels in the place where a tooth used to be. Not pain, not relief, just the quiet astonishment of empty space. You sit with the empty space for a long time. Your phone rings 40 minutes later. It is your mother. You watch the phone vibrate on the table. The screen says, "Mom." The phone vibrates for 38 seconds, which is, you notice, the exact same length of time you let it vibrate when you were 22. A single crow walk across the small yard behind your apartment, and you understand, watching the crow, that you are not going to die from this. You had thought you might. You had thought, for 19 months at the kitchen table, that the email might kill you. It did not kill you. It killed someone, but it did not kill you. It killed the daughter. The daughter is dead. You are something else now. You do not have a word for what you are yet. You will not need one for a long time. You are 45. You are sitting across from a man in a coffee shop in Asheville. The man's name is Wes Calder. The man has a notebook open on the table, and he has just asked you when you first realized you were not their daughter,
You were their account. You turn your coffee cup half a rotation. You think about the answer for a long time. You think about the kitchen in Columbus at 22. You think about the Honda Civic at 26. You think about the rental car in Indianapolis at 30. You think about the legal pad at 35. You think about the kitchen table at 40, at 42. You think about your sister Hannah, who is alive, who is in recovery, who has been in a debt management program for 16 months, who has not spoken to your mother in 4 months and counting, who calls you every Sunday at 4 p.m. and stays on the phone for exactly 20 minutes, because 20 minutes is what Hannah's therapist has said Hannah can handle right now, and you respect the 20 minutes the way a person respects a thing that almost did not exist. You say, I think it was the night I got the email about my sister, the one from the social worker, the one that said her resting heart rate had been 142 for 6 hours. That was the night I knew. But knowing was not the same as being free of it. Knowing took 6 minutes. Being free of it took 23 years. I write that down. I look at her. I ask her the question I have asked everyone I have ever interviewed about an estrangement. The question that, in my experience, is the only question that matters at the end. I ask her, what do you wish you had known at 22? She does not answer right away. She drinks some of her coffee. She looks out the window at the street. Then she says, and this is the line I have been writing toward for 40 minutes, the line I want you to hear in your own kitchen, wherever you are sitting, whatever your number is, whoever has been calling you for 13 years with a voice that begins with, I hate to ask, but, she says, money is never about money. It is the language we use when love runs out. My mother did not call me for $4,200 when I was 22. My mother called me to find out if I would still pay to be loved. I said yes for 20 years. The day I said no, I did not lose a family. I stopped funding one. They were never the same thing. I close the notebook. I do not say anything for a while. Outside the coffee shop, a woman walks past pushing a stroller, and a man holds a door open for her. And the small, ordinary kindness of the gesture happens the way ordinary kindness always happens, which is to say, without an invoice, without a receipt, without a 13-year contract written in a voice that begins with, I hate to ask, but... You can recognize love, sometimes, by what it does not ask you to pay for. If you are sitting in a kitchen tonight, and the phone is vibrating on the counter, and the screen says, Mom, or Dad, or Sis, or the name of any person who has been teaching you for years that the price of being loved by them is a number you have to keep producing, I want you to do something for me. I want you to look at the screen. I want you to count the seconds. And I want you to ask yourself one question, just one, before you decide whether to pick up. The question is not, do they love me? The question is, what is the invoice for this love? And how long have I been paying it? And what would I be if I stopped? You do not have to answer the question tonight. You do not have to send any email. You do not have to make any decision. You only have to ask the question. The question is the first thing in your life that nobody else is allowed to bill you for. The phone keeps vibrating. The screen goes dark. You let it. I'm Wes Calder. The next episode is about a different kind of wait. It is about the moment you find out a thing you spent your whole life not wanting to know, and what you do with the knowledge once it is yours. It is called When Knowing Hurts, the information you wish you never had. Nora Caldwell is in that one too, briefly, near the end. So is Hannah. They are both, finally, okay. Okay is a smaller word than people think. Okay is enough. Until then, count carefully, answer slowly, and remember, money is never about money. It is the language we use when love runs out. The screen goes dark. You let it.